Hatcher Pass is an amazing area of Alaska about an hour from Anchorage.
I've been to this area before and I know how beautiful it is, but Amy's never been to this area before. What do you think?
It's amazing. I feel like I'm like in a moment of Sound of Music right now.
Due to its elevation, driving over the pass is only open about 2 months out of the year and most of it is unpaved. When it's open though, it's a fantastic day trip full of stunning views and amazing hiking trails. Amy and I set out to spend a day exploring Hatcher Pass last July, and here is all the information on this beautiful part of Alaska. Be sure to stay to the end when we head to Talkeetna and show you the famous spinach bread as well. All right, let's jump into it. We started by driving about an hour north of Anchorage to the start of Hatcher Pass Road. If you have the time, there's lots of hiking trails that lead from this part of Hatcher Pass Road, and some even go to glaciers.
Hey everybody, today I'm here with Amy and we're gonna drive Hatcher Pass to Willow and then go all the way up to Talkeetna.
While the pass itself is only typically open from July to late September, you can go up to some of these earlier stops during the winter time. Also, a lot of people will travel the pass on skis or snowmobiles in the winter as well. The road starts climbing immediately from the beginning and there's a few pull-offs with amazing views.
We're up at Independence Mine State Historic Park. We're gonna go explore the mine after this, but first off,
Lake Trail, which is about a 1.5 mile round trip with 400 feet of elevation gain. Having seen it in early June where everything was basically dead, it was amazing to see how green these hills were in late July. Even if you don't want to do any hiking, just drive up here. I mean, look at these views.
that's our end goal for the hike, right there.
Did it.
This is the historic Lynch cabin from 1930. I don't know how well that would survive the snow.
Apparently it's survived the snow pretty well since it's been here since the 1930s, and it's cool that it's still open for you to go in and explore.
We're finishing our last push up to the lake. Also, how cool is this fog that's coming in right now?
The last push on this trail is the only part that's difficult as it's a little bit steep and it was a little bit muddy when we were there as well.
This is such a cool trail. You get almost a bird's eye view of the mining area down there.
This is one of the easiest trails I've done in a long time just because I had so much adrenaline from how excited I was about it.
Made it to the top of the first trail and I have to say, that's pretty epic. That is so stunning.
It's like glass.
How do you beat it?
Amy and I were the only ones here for about 30 minutes and we just ran around and tried to take in all of the different views.
I can't even believe that this lake is at the end of a 1.5 mile round trip trail. I would have hiked 10 miles for this lake. Look at how perfectly clear the water is too. I've seen a lot of views on this Alaska trip and I have to say this is probably one of the best I've seen.
I'd have to agree. That reflection is insane.
Yeah, I mean, how do you beat that? Plus, look, there's people camping up there. That would be so cool. We got a lot more to explore in Hatcher Pass though, so we're heading down.
After hiking 1 mile back down, we headed over to explore Independence Mine State Park. If you're traveling with a wheelchair, note there is reserved parking near the top, and most of it is paved, so you should be able to explore the mining town ruins.
The last time my dad and I were here in the middle of June, this entire walkway was covered in snow. So it's nicer right now, at the end of July.
Independence Mine was a large gold mining operation that began in the early 1900s. It was one of the largest gold mines in Alaska and it was worked for almost 50 years. The mine had a small town that housed over 200 workers from 16 families during its heyday.
This bunkhouse was built in 1938 and it housed 54 men. It was considered upscale living at the time here. This is the part I'll never forget from the first visit here, just how cool it is to see these big mountains with the ruins and then that waterfall coming right down through the middle.
Well, it's so pretty, but it's really cool all the history that you can still see right here.
There were plans to start mining the area again when it closed in the 1950s, but that never happened and it was donated to the state in 1980. Today, the buildings are held in a state of arrested decay where many have succumbed to the harsh elements that hit this part of Alaska every year.
Can't imagine living here in the winter, but in the summer, not bad. This is what the structure would have looked like, but now, as you can see, it's pretty destroyed.
One of the only remaining buildings that you can go in was the assay office, which is where the miners would take the rocks and things that they found to see whether or not there was gold in them. There's still a lot of information and historic mining tools that you can see here.
One of the coolest places to experience gold rush history is in Kennecott. If you have a chance, check that out. I have another video on that I'll link to in the description. This place is awesome.
Even though I've been here multiple times, I can never get over how beautiful it is to see these buildings that were nestled in this valley with the waterfall running right alongside them. It's just one of those places you would never expect to see.
Saying goodbye to the Independence Mine, and we're continuing the drive over Hatcher Pass. That road that you see the RVs going down, that's the road that we're driving up to get to Hatcher Pass. Doesn't look like a very fun road for RVs.
When my dad and I came here in early June, this is where the road was closed and you had to go back down. You could make it to the mine, but you couldn't drive all the way up, and so you had to walk an extra 1.5 miles in case you come here in the winter. Also, as you can see, this is a steep grade and it actually ends at Hatcher Pass.
We made it to the summit of Hatcher Pass. That was not much uphill driving to get here. And then that's the trail we're gonna go out on after we have our lunch. We found the perfect lunch rock. If you're doing this trip, I highly recommend packing a sandwich because you can sit and get views like this out over that range out in the distance, but also there's not any restaurants really along this drive.
It's crazy that Hatcher Pass is only 3,886 feet in elevation. That doesn't seem like something that would have harsh elements, but when you're this far north in Alaska, it definitely is.
Heading out on our second trail right from the Hatcher Pass summit, the April Bowl Trail.
The April Bowl Trail is 2.5 miles round trip, but it's 800 feet of elevation gain and it's incredibly steep. It's one of the most popular trails in this area because it leaves right from the Hatcher Pass summit. Many people elect just to go to the lake, which is about halfway, instead of going all the way to the summit of Hatch Peak.
This is a beautiful trail, but it's steep and it goes up right away. The trail continues along this ridgeline all the way to the summit. You can see people right here. Look at that beautiful lake with the glass reflection again. You ready to go all the way up there, Amy?
Oh, it's a bit of a burner, so maybe a little slower than I was thinking.
This is a great turnaround point if you don't want to go all the way to the summit, as you can see how beautiful this lake is.
You guys, this Hatcher Pass area is incredible. I am so glad I'm getting to see it on this trip. Why do we eat our lunch down there? We should have ate it up here.
We were misled.
I just can't believe how beautiful this area is. I keep saying it over and over again, but it really blew us away.
There's the rest of the elevation right in front of us. That's a steep section.
Steep means straight up.
Even though it was late July, there's still a good amount of snow all around the trail.
See people out on the ridgeline right here, and then look at this beautiful blue pool. You can really tell how steep this is when you look at that slope right next to us for what we're going up.
As we made it to the top of the first hill, the ridgeline became narrow as it extended out and continued climbing up Hatch Peak.
It looks so epic with you crossing that ridgeline. That's a legit Alaska hike right there.
As you continue uphill, it's impressive to look back at what you've already accomplished. Here you can see the lakes that were down at the halfway point.
It's crazy how much snow they still have at the end of June. We have one more push before we make it to the top. Woohoo, you made it!
That push at the end, you got me.
You guys, though, look at this. That is Denali right there.
When we finally made it to the summit, we were greeted by some of the best views I had seen on a hike in Alaska.
This is one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful 2-mile trail I have ever done in my life. It is insane every way you look. Denali that way, and then just stunning ridges everywhere.
On our first trip to Alaska, we went almost 2 weeks without seeing Denali, so it was pretty incredible to be up here and to have it be so clear so far away. Here's just a few more of the ridge lines and mountains you could see from up here.
It was 100% worth it. Awesome hike for, my gosh, look at this. Amazing.
With that, we're heading back down and finishing our Hatcher Pass drive. There's our car down there, and then we came all the way up here in 1 mile.
No big deal.
We took our time just soaking in the views on the way down and making sure we didn't fall on the steep trail.
We front-loaded our Hatcher Pass road trip, so most of it is just downhill driving now, but it still should be pretty beautiful.
From the summit to the end of Hatcher Pass Road in the town of Willow, it's about 29 miles and about an hour of driving. This section is almost entirely dirt and gravel, but it was actually a really well-maintained road and it felt pretty safe to drive on. It's a beautiful drive, especially as you're making your way down from the summit. The road is curvy as it zigzags down the mountain towards the valley floor below. Once you make it there, you'll actually be driving along a river basically the entire way out. This road was originally created in the 1930s as a way for miners to access their claims in the Talkeetna Mountains. Of course, it's no longer used for that, but as you can see, it's still a great full-day road trip. We barely scratched the surface of what you could see on this video.
Finished our drive over Hatcher Pass. That was beautiful. But instead of heading back to Anchorage, I'm taking Amy to Talkeetna for some famous spinach bread to end this video.
Can't wait.
Talkeetna is about 45 minutes from the end of Hatcher Pass Road, but it's an incredibly fun town to spend a little bit of time in. Plus, you can get the Denali Flight Sea tour from here as well, and you can see our video we did on that in the description. But in this video, we just came for spinach bread.
All right, to end the video, I got Amy spinach bread in Talkeetna.
I am ready for this after that hike, which I'm still sweaty from.
An hour and 15 minutes later. All right, let's see. Look at that cheese coming off.
That's never a bad sign.
Famous Alaskan treat.
Oh, it's really good. I love roasted garlic on top there.
2 thumbs up?
For sure.
Yeah, that spinach bread was just as good as I remember. Plus, the mint tea there is also very strong. We're going to explore a little bit more of Talkeetna, but that's the end of the Hatcher Pass video. You can see all our Alaska videos in the description. I'll see you on the next one.